All right, welcome to the famous after work video. This is the first one this week as it is Monday. So let's dive into the video. I'll share my screen. So here's a wire short capture from the last topic, last video. During lunch, we just kind of breezed through this troubleshooting and configuration for IPv4 and IPv6. I kind of think I've got a fair enough experience with that with what I was doing before. So the next topic is going to be routing policy. So let's start the topic the same way with an help apropos. Okay, and it looks like our cron job went through again. So help apropos, we'll do policy, pipe match. So we've got routing options. We've got a number of options there. Let's try route. It's route policy. So let's see if there's any matches on route. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be this routing options. That's where it's going to be a routing policy. So yeah, it's not going to be under policy options. I think it'll be under, oh, actually it might be under policy options. Yeah, let's just search for route policy. Okay, so no hits, routing policy. No hits. Okay, let's search for policy again. Okay, so let's try this one. Aha, here we go. So examples, routing policy configuration. The following examples show how to configure routing policies for various purposes. Okay, so let's just gather all these, and then unfortunately we'll need to use Google search to find this documentation. I was working in a previous video on a script to be able to go through and look through all of the options in the help menu to match on this, but unfortunately that deemed to be not quite possible. So yeah, let's just see if we can do all of these, or maybe not all of them, but at least a few of these examples, as many as we can do before the end of the work video. And remember, as I said before, these are from my version of the OS, which is version 17. So right now the test is going to be on version 19. So these are definitely out of date, and they might not have been. So I might not find exactly the configuration for that. So the first one is redistributing BGP routes with a specific community tag into ISAS. So yep, it's this one right here. So yeah, we can do this one. Why don't we just do this one? So it should be pretty easy. We just need another router. So let's set up another router. Okay, and let's change up the lab quite a bit. Moving on to kind of different stuff. So I'll get rid of this cloud. I'll get rid of my Docker guests. Yep. And then I'll even get rid of all this. I mean, I don't want to lose sight of how to do this sort of stuff, set up radius, set up SNMP, NTP, user accounts, restricted management. But I think I have a pretty good sense of how to do that. So I think it's okay to delete that. Okay, so let's look at what our topology is going to look like. Okay, so we'll set up a new router, router 5. And I like to do the forwarding plane first, and then the control plane. Okay. That'll take about 6 minutes to start up. So let's wire things up and then work on configuring the first 4 routers in the meantime. So we'll do 0 to 0, 1 to 1, and then 0 to 0 again here. And then we'll do 2 to 0. Oops, and I forgot to wire it up. Okay, so now let's do 2 to 0. Perfect. All right. So now we're going to need to blank out this config, except for the things we'll need, of course. So show configuration, pipe display set, pipe no more. So we're going to need host name, root authentication, okay, and then we're also going to need some more configuration. There's something, I think that's all we're going to need actually, because the I thought there was a system or a chat. Yeah, so we're going to need this command as well. And then, okay, so now I really think that that's all we're going to need. Yeah, we won't have radius or anything like that. Oh, we will need the version command too, I believe. Okay, so let's try that. So configure private, delete, yes, and then enter in these. Perfect. Commit and quit. All right, so same thing for router 2. Oops, so it's not going to be configure private. I got to log in first. And then CLI. Now configure private. Delete. Yes. All right, router 3. All right, router 4, and then router 5. Okay, so we're going to need to wait for router 5, but we've got plenty to do in the meantime since we'll need to configure all 4 of the routers. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit of a extra challenge for myself because I really need to know how to do this sort of thing. So I'm peeking at it now, but hopefully I'm going to be able to just look at this topology here and without peeking at the configuration down there, just set it up based on what I already know. So we'll start with the interface. Okay, and then, oops, then, okay, so now it belongs to, it has ISIS configured on it, so we'll also need family ISO. Okay, and they don't give us any NETs or anything. I'm tempted to peek down to see which NETs they're using for ISIS down there, but let's just come up with one on our own. It looks like they don't give any loopback addresses, which is kind of surprising because you would need one of those for the NET. But let's configure one ourselves because I'm just gonna come up with what I think is necessary, and then I'll do a show configuration and put it side by side with what the lab suggests. So what I would think would be necessary here would be a family ISO address. Okay, and we don't necessarily need a IPv4 address as well. It'll just help with the ID that's assigned to the router. You'll know more clearly which ID is going to be assigned. Otherwise, it uses selection criteria. But oops, it looks like I've got edit set up. So let me try going top and show pipe compare. Okay, so that command took. So on to the next command, which is going to be setting up ISIS. All right, so we've got another command. It looks like we're going to need IBGP as well. Oh, so let's start off by setting the autonomous system. This is going to be 1. Okay, and now we'll do edit protocols BGP, and this is going to be an IBGP connection. So we don't need to set the pure AS, but we will need to set the. I mean, we can always make it. We can always just set it just because. Let's actually do that. So local AS 1 set peer AS 1. So now it's IGP. So now let's set the networks that will be distributed into it. Actually, let's do this. Let's do show pipe display set relative. Okay, and let's remove this configuration. Okay, and then let's put it all under a group, just because that's a little bit more tidy. So edit group, and then we'll call it IBGP. Okay, so now we can set the parameters. So we are going to need to set a neighbor. So let's set B, and we'll just set the other side of the link. 6. Okay, so here's the configuration I've got. I think this is going to be all that I need. The only other thing I can think of is that we'll need a policy to actually add routes to BGP, IBGP. So I'm not sure what kind of routes they want added to there. But I guess I'm willing to say that this is good enough for now. So I think what I'll do is just configure them all and then compare them all in another video. So in this video, we're just going to be seeing if I know my stuff enough to just go through and configure them. And then in the next video, it'll be we'll look at the answer key down there and see how close I came to actually setting this up properly. So I guess I'm willing to say that this is good. Hopefully no one is yelling at the screen right now watching me say that. Okay. So for some reason I specified it to be eBGP. So let's do a show pipe display set. So my autonomous system is 1. And I made a group and I didn't specify the autonomous system at all. But it seems to be thinking that I'm not trying to use the same one because it's saying a peer AS number must be configured for an external peer. I thought it would just automatically know I was doing an internal, but saved by the error message. So let's just set up group there and then peer AS1, and hopefully that will take care of it. Okay, so yeah, everything seems good. Okay, so also going to need a IP address on the other link, of course. Okay, so we're good to go on that anyway. So we're going to need 2 IBGP neighbors. I find it interesting that they didn't put IBGP here. So I wonder if they want a neighborship there or not, but let's keep going. So before we do that though, let's configure the ISO address on the loopback. All right, looks good to go. Okay, so that's good to go. So we'll need BGP as well, and I think as far as I know, that's the final step, but we'll of course figure out if that is true once I go through the answer key. Okay, and we could be, of course, using that passive keyword here to not send open messages from both sides, but I think it's fine to do that. Okay, so then we'll need to set the local autonomous system as well. Okay, so pretty sure this is all that is needed. So I will commit. Hopefully I don't get an error for this one. Nope, looks good to go. So router 3, which I'm going to have be C. Okay, so that looks good to go. We also need to configure interface 0. All right. So it's going to be 13. There we go. So now we'll also need one more address, but it's not going to be an INET address. It's going to be a family ISO address on the loopback interface. Okay, so that looks good to go. Okay, so we're also going to need to enable the ISS protocols for all the faces. Oops, and I forgot about one final interface that needs an IP address. Perfect. So now the only step that is left is BGP, but we're going to need to configure both BGP and IBGP on router C, which in our case is just router 3. Okay, so now time for eBGP. Okay, so let's set the autonomous system that this is in. It's in autonomous system 1. Okay, and I think that's that's everything. Of course, one thing I am missing though is a policy to add routes into BGP. Right now, BGP neighborships will be established, but they won't be exchanging any actual routing information. Oops, so it looks like I actually went astray. I did not delete the existing config on here yet. I thought I did that to all of the switches, but apparently I did not do that on this one yet. So let's do a show pipe compare and see if there's a way to save myself the trouble of typing this all out later. All right, so I've got that configuration saved. So it's time to delete everything here. And then we'll do a re-adding of the configuration I thought I had. Now a show pipe compare. Maybe I just forgot to commit or something. Okay, so now we'll do the commits. Okay, and show pipe display sets. Okay, so now the configuration I had before. Okay, so no issues there. Time for router 4. And I'll check beforehand that I cleared everything off. Oops, and there's a problem on here as well. Okay, so now it's time for the actual config relevant to this example. Okay. Oops. So I need address. So one thing I think I did forget, or actually, well, let me just check quick. So, nope, I've got the family ISO in there. So, yep, everything looks good. Time to set it up on router D. Okay. And now it says that it doesn't say to include IBGP there. So I think I'm not going to include it, but I will need to include ISIS. All right, we are good to go. So now let's verify that all of the ISIS adjacencies have been properly formed. And it looks like already right off the bat, that is not the case on router 1. Okay, so I can't ping across the router to routers 2. So let's do a show route direct on router 1. So we'll do a show route protocol direct. Okay, and now we can see, oops, I accidentally configured the .4 on that interface instead of the .5. So I put the network address on there. I'm surprised it let me do that. Usually it'll tell you that's not a valid address, but it's not the case here. Okay, so that statement was, oh, right. Okay, so I'm looking at the rect. I need to look at local. There you go. That's what I meant. So, yep, you can see the proper address is on router 1. So let's check router 2. So router 2 I configured with .5. It's got to be .6. The other thing I noticed is I deleted a bit more than I kind of had planned, but that's a good thing because I get a glimpse of everything that was on there, and I do see that family ISO is missing, so I will add it. And hopefully it is on router 1 already. Yes, it is. So hopefully the ISIS adjacency will be up now. Okay, and it's not. So let's see if at least I can ping across the wire now. All right, and I cannot, even though I thought I just fixed that. Let's take a look at the local routes again. So yep, now we got that fixed. It's .6. So one thing that's interesting is we've got this reject here for .9. I'm going to do a show int terse. pipe match GE dash. So it looks like this link is down for some reason, which is why we see that reject there. But this link is up, so I'm surprised it's having issues. Let's try it from this side, specifying the source. Okay, so maybe there's a wiring issue. I will look into that. So here's the issue. Router 1 connects to router 3, doesn't connect to router 2. So I'm configuring router 2 right now. I meant to configure router 3. So I think I might just take the easy way out. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do this during the test, but it's going to be a lot. Yeah, it's a cop out. Unfortunately, if I make this sort of mistake during the test, it's going to be a huge problem, and I won't be able to do this. But I just kind of want. I've only got about 18 minutes left too. I really can't go much longer than that, especially without I'm thinking about getting a walking desk, because now that I work from home full-time guaranteed, it's like, well, I know I'm going to be at my desk all day. There's no question of when I'd be going back. So like, it's not like, oh, I could buy it and then all of a sudden just never use it. It's like, no, I'm going to be using it for at least a few months, if not even like a full year. So lots and lots of benefits to be had for burning an extra at least $500 a day every day for the rest of the year. But before I order that, I will be finishing this video. Yeah, getting through a bunch of these is definitely a bit ambitious. But let's see if the adjacency is up now. Okay, so now that it's all wired correctly, we've got our adjacency in state up. Let's take a look at the BGP summary. Okay, so the BGP neighborship is up as well. All right, hopefully everything's good on router 2. Yep. And neighbors in state established. Oops, so router 3, there is an issue. I think the issue is I forgot to enable family ISO. Yep. All right. And I won't necessarily need to enable it on that link that has the eBGP connection. Oops, so still got a problem here. Oh, it looks like I entirely forgot to configure ISS at all on this device. All right, so hopefully things are better now. And okay, That's unexpected because I did just, okay. That's really strange. What? What? Ah, so I think I know the problem. You can see I've got an invalid family ISO address. So instead of giving me a warning and rejecting my config, it just tried, but it looks like it definitely failed. I would not expect it to be able to succeed having an incorrect family ISO address on the loopback interface. So let's fix that and see if we have better luck. Okay, and we'll also need to configure the protocol. Okay, so ISIS is now working. Oops, I forgot to add the loopback interface though. So let's do a test here and see if I can get adjacencies. I would be willing to bet that I cannot. Oh, but it looks like I was incorrect. I can still get an adjacency even though I am not advertising the loopback interface. I guess that makes sense because you're just adding IPv4 addresses into it. I think the family ISO and the NET automatically gets added in. But I mean, we could just add it anyway, just for completeness. I don't know if that is what is necessary or recommended, but I will add it in there. Okay. So there we go. We've got 2 adjacencies. These are level 1 adjacencies. So already we know there's a little bit of a problem though, because the fact that we've got 2 adjacencies means that we don't have 4 adjacencies, which is the number of adjacencies we would need. Oops, unless this were router 2. Oh, okay. So this is router 3. So yeah, that's totally fine that we've only got 2 adjacencies. One thing that is interesting, it looks like this is router 3, but this was meant to be router 4. So we can do the same correction and just move this here. And then change the wiring. All right, so now let's see if there's 4 adjacencies on router 3. Oops, still have only got 2 adjacencies. And they went into new and initializing again. So yeah, we're going to need more adjacencies than that. So show configuration, pipe display set, pipe no more. And then let's do this on router 4 as well. Okay, that's interesting that we don't have an extra adjacency. So I believe the adjacency we're missing. So we're just missing 1 adjacency. We've got it to router 4, but yeah, we're missing the adjacency to router 2. Let's take a look at router 2. Aha, we can see we're missing family ISO on that interface on router 2. All right, so hopefully we'll have 4 adjacencies now, 1 per each router per each level. So it looks like we've only got a level 2 adjacency. So that would lead me to believe that there'd be something wrong with the area field of the NET. So let's take a look at that. So this is the NET. And yep, sure enough, we've only got, we're missing 4 characters in that field. So let's fix that up. Okay. All right, we are good to go. Yep, now that the areas match, we can have a level 1 adjacency. Okay, so let's check BGP neighbors. So we got 1, we got 2, and we got 3, but it looks like the eBGP neighbor is in connect, and the IBGP neighborship, I'm not sure to which router, but it is in active. So let's do a show BGP summary. Okay, and I think the easiest way to start is to just do a ping to neighbor. Okay, so it's going to be a bit more complicated than that. Let's do a show protocol BGP. Okay, so we've got a neighborship to 14. Let's see what local routes are on this device. Okay, 13. So let's verify that 14. Oh, so we could ping 14. So I think the configuration is going to be fine on here. Let's see what the configuration looks like on the other side. And let's see which device 14 is on. Okay, so it's going to be router 4. So yep, you can see I have no BGP configured on there, but I might not necessarily need it because, yeah, I don't think I need it. It's not given in the topology, so I will leave it out. Okay, so it'll look a lot better now in the BGP summary. So now we've just got the 2 connections that we actually do want BGP on instead of that extra one. But we will need to figure out why. So we already do know why this is in connect. It's because I have not yet configured router 5. Okay, so there's the base configuration. Now let's add the extra stuff. And hopefully I can finish configuring all 5 before the end of this. And then the lunchtime video tomorrow will be checking the answer key. So set routing options, autonomous system 2. And now set up the interface. And we won't need an IGP for this one because this is the only router in the autonomous system. Oops. So I thought, let me see, I thought I disabled those messages. So show pipe display set. Oh, nope, I actually forgot to do so let's do a delete and then repaste in that config from before. Okay, and now those messages will stop spamming. Okay, so aha, and now we can see what their intent is. They want these routes injected into the autonomous system one, so we know a routing policy is going to be necessary on that. We also want to include a specific community tag, but you know, this is part of what I'm learning, so I don't necessarily expect myself to already know it. So let's configure the interface. All right. So, okay, so now I need to configure eBGP. So group can be named anything. I'm going to name it eBGP. Okay, so hopefully this is enough to get a peer. So I will need some more configuration potentially. Specifying the local address is often really important with BGP, otherwise it'll use your selection rules. That's especially important if you're using loopback addresses. That you could run into problems if you're using a loopback address and you don't specify the local address to use in your advertisements, because otherwise it will use the one according to the routing rules, which is often the egress interface, and then sometimes that's not going to be one you want your other routers to learn. You just want them to learn the management address of the router. But in this case, it's such a simple topology, I don't think that will be necessary. So let's make sure that the neighbor is active, and it is. So I think that's going to be it for the after work video today. In the next video, we'll take a look at the answer key for this. And see how well I did. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.